I think we're live.
Hello!
Hi, everyone!
Happy Tuesday? It's Tuesday.
That was like the weakest laugh. It's Friday, right?
No, it's only Tuesday.
Welcome back to Marx Library Live. We are excited to be here.
It's Tuesday. We're talking about it's not really raining and it's not really like, it's just kind of, yeah. So this week, we should say who we are, I guess.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Beth and Stephanie. I am the Arts and Humanities Librarian here at the Marx Library at the University of South Alabama.
And I'm Stephanie Edwards-Ard. I'm the Social Sciences Librarian here at the Marx Library at the University of South Alabama.
And those of you who are just tuning in for the first time,
Welcome.
Every Tuesday.
Why are you in for a treat?
Every Tuesday at 1:45, we do Marx Library Live, which is essentially like we take a topic and we talk about it for 15 minutes. And they're not like Adam Levine, what do you think, Super Bowl topics, which there's plenty to talk about on that one. But that's really not what we talk about. Instead, they're library related topics.
Usually, we try.
They're all library
library topics. How well we stick to said topic is up for debate.
Right. But today we've had a couple requests, Stephanie.
Yes, we had some messages asking us to cover a very particular topic.
Which is one we never thought people would want to know about.
Yeah, why?
But, we'll talk about it. And the topic is...
So you want to be a librarian.
Right? I mean, I think librarianship is one of those professions where I don't think you start out as like a 4-year-old being like, I'm going to be a librarian.
No one I know wanted to start that way, yeah.
I was just like, okay, like whatever. And it ended up like coming out of graduate school, right? But so I don't think, so it's not a profession where you're like, I'm going to be an astronaut, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a librarian. It doesn't really happen that way.
No.
So we thought we'd talk, instead of like incessantly boring you guys about like...
degree requirements. Coursework.
We thought we'd talk about kind of like...
professional expectations.
What? Professional expectations? No.
I mean, they're very high.
Very low.
Very high.
We thought we would talk a little bit about kind of like... the area of librarianship that we know the most about, which is academic librarianship. We'll talk about there's other kinds, and then we'll mainly focus on like what we know about, and then what kind of our background in preparation for like this.
And our backgrounds are actually really similar, so we might want to talk about some.
We'll talk about some other people's backgrounds too. I know, like we may be the same person, but kind of what our education did to prepare us to do this job. And maybe
were we prepared?
No. And the requirements kind of for our job, maybe. Does that...
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
Okay. I was going to ask them if that sounded good.
Does that sound good? All right, yeah.
Okay, so, real quickly, librarianship. There are different kinds.
Yes. There are different ways to be a librarian. We are academic librarians, so we work in an academic library. That is, we work in a library at a university, or you could work at one at a college, community college, or...
Yeah. So, I mean, like, the big ones, there's, like, the public library, which you're probably familiar with. And then there are... School librarians, too. And they all kind of do different things, obviously.
And there are also librarians who are archivists and work in museums or archives.
Like our ones upstairs.
Yeah. But special libraries, like music library.
Yeah, and so there are, like we mentioned, school media law librarians.
Right.
School media library. We actually at South have a school media library program. Specialization within the College of Education, right? And they're a little bit different than us. They tend to be in like K through 12, correct? Okay. That's the extent of my knowledge there. So if you're interested in like librarianship in a K through 12 situation, that's more kind of education rather than librarianship, which is kind of what we ended up doing. Okay. So
Beth, tell me about your librarian. Your librarian. What was I going to say? It was so smart, but I forgot it. Tell me about Tell me your librarian story.
My life path into librarianship. So I, as an undergrad, I ended up getting a BA in English.
Hey, me too.
Hey. And then I went on to graduate school in English.
Hey, me too.
And I ended up getting my MA, which I was going to show. We brought our cards. So if you ever look at all of our cards, you'll see there's a bunch of like letters behind it.
I think this shows up. Does this show reverse?
I don't know, but and then lots of librarians have different letters. So there's Angela Rand's card. So then I got my MA in English, and then was like, what do I really want to do?
What do you do with an MA in English?
Right. I taught comp for a couple years, and then I was like, well, hey, me too!
For a long time, actually.
And then I was like, what do I want to do when I grow up? And I really enjoyed the research part of scholarship more than, I like writing too, but I enjoyed the research part of the scholarship far more than the writing part. And so I was like, well, why don't I do something where, like, I can do that all the time? So I went to library school. And when we say we go to library school, like, it's a legit degree. Master's degree.
It is an actual master's degree. They're usually called Masters of Library and Information Science. So we're actually scientists.
Yeah, I'm not. But yeah.
You are, in fact, an information scientist.
I am an information scientist. But yeah, so I think a lot of times students think that everyone...
I have a faculty member who calls me an information scientist.
Well, you're an informationist.
Yeah.
I think people think everyone that works in a library has the same, like, background, credentialing, all that stuff, and that is not the case.
No,
right?
Actually, most of the people you see in the library are not librarians, which people are really surprised to learn.
Yeah, so all of us here at South, we can speak to all of us at South, all of us have degrees from library school. So either we have an MLIS, information thing that Stephanie's talking about, which is more, it's newer, so the last, like, 10, 15 years. Oh my god, 10 years. And then there's also an MLS, which is library science, and that tends to be kind of a little bit older. So some of our more established colleagues have...
I'm sure they'd appreciate that.
They're missing the I, which they're fine with. But, so that's kind of our library education. And in library school, they teach you, like, the professional principles.
Right, yeah.
Of librarianship. So you'll hear Stephanie and I talking about, like we've mentioned a couple times before, like our ethical code.
Library Bill of Rights.
That we kind of abide by.
Things that the kinds of things that we value as a profession.
Yeah, and that's really kind of what they teach you in library school. They really don't teach you how to do the job.
No. I actually feel like I know more about this job from my experience teaching than from library school.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a few things like organization information. I kind of have a...
Right, like a bigger idea about that.
Understanding.
Yeah.
I have become a master of, like, Boolean operators.
Right,
right.
Because
of that reference class.
Oh my god, yeah. It's like hazing.
Here's something impossible.
Here's the most impossible thing to find. Find it.
Oh, and show me how you found it.
Yeah.
Show your work.
Show your work, yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of library school. But in addition to our...
library science degrees, I would say most academic librarian positions in general require a second master's degree in an area of specialization. Yeah,
which is why we...
have so many letters.
A, have so many letters. And B, which is why we all have specialty areas too, right? So it gives us a more in-depth knowledge into that particular discipline or field or related fields, right? Rather than simply like an undergraduate degree.
Right.
Which is kind of an introduction, and then a graduate degree is a more like in-depth look at a discipline.
And I think it gives us a better understanding of the expectations, of university research as a whole.
Yeah, so like when we meet with graduate students and they talk about their thesis project or whatever, we feel right. So we understand kind of that graduate level caliber research, which also helps inform, I think, the decisions we make about the collection too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because we do get to look at kind of different levels in a collection, right? Because a resource that's very appropriate for maybe an undergrad, there's the resource that's appropriate for kind of graduate level research too.
And you can't really understand those if you've not been through a comparable graduate program.
So yeah. So what if you, like, I can't imagine, but what if somebody's like, I want to be a librarian when I grow up? Which is a very cool gig, but again, it's not that something like you like decide you want to do. You kind of just fall into it, I feel like. What about you?
Oh, I certainly fell into it.
See?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my track was very similar to Beth's. I did the master's in English. I started a PhD in English.
I did too. I left that part out. I was like, there's no need to go into that.
And I decided that I wanted to be in a field that was a bit more collaborative and student-centered.
Oh, that's very nice. I was just like, the job market's really what turned me off. I was like, I'm never going to do it.
There's another thing, yeah.
So yeah.
I think it might be worth mentioning, since you talk about the job market, our positions are actually faculty positions.
Oh, yeah.
So even though we're not professors, like, your English professor,
right.
We are actually faculty. So we have tenure track jobs, and some of us are tenured. So you couldn't get rid of her if you tried.
Oh, you could, but let's not. But yeah, so we have so it's very important that we have those protections, right? Mm-hmm. Again, that idea of like we want to have the same kind of academic freedoms that the faculty in the classroom do in the library.
And it means that we are doing research and publishing.
Yes, we forgot about that part.
Yeah.
How could we forget about that?
We try not to think about it unless we have to.
Right, so we're doing, we're writing articles and we're contributing to book chapters.
Publishing in peer-reviewed journals, presenting at conferences.
So all those things. So if you look for Stephanie around, we're not here, there's a good chance we're probably presenting at a conference maybe somewhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we do all those things. I was going to say something and I totally forgot.
Did I interrupt your train of thought?
But it was totally fine. So I was gonna say, if you were thinking about becoming a librarian,
what would I say to them?
Do it. No, I was gonna say
go ahead.
Your undergraduate degree does not you don't need an undergraduate degree in a very book centered.
Oh no! You can go into your library science, library. You can go to library school with anything.
Yeah, and actually, I would say a lot of us come from humanities, social sciences backgrounds because we tend to those are the people that heart the books, right?
Right.
And we tend to kind of gravitate to that kind of thing. But if you're a science major and you're interested, you have a unique set of skills that a lot of people in the profession do not have.
Right.
So if you're an engineer,
and for some reason you want to be a librarian,
we're gonna find there's gonna be a job for you. Because you have a unique knowledge set that I
was in library school with 2 people who had law degrees.
Me too.
Yeah.
And they're fabulous. And we have a lawyer, actually, there's a librarian in the biomedical library who actually has a law degree. It's kind of a roundabout gig, but so if you have a biomedical background, there are medical librarians
so
too.
Why would someone want to be a librarian? What kind of person or personality or
you don't need
strengths?
You don't need to be bun wearing, cat loving, although both of us do like cats.
And wear the occasional bun.
And cardigan. But, you don't need... Right.
So I'm always wearing a cardigan, okay? That was before I became a librarian. That's an established habit.
You need to have bad eyesight. No.
Cat hair, glasses.
Extra insulation.
It's actually in the job requirements.
Yes. Actually, all of us do pretty much wear glasses. It's pretty bad. But I would say there are different types of librarianship, even within an academic library, that tend to, if you have a certain personality, you might gravitate to that more than another, right? So there's no certain type of personality, there's no certain type of, I guess, demeanor that is librarian-y.
Right.
I don't know. There's those of us that are quiet, and there's those of us like us, so I don't know.
I think, though, it might be worth addressing some other misconceptions.
Which are,
we don't get to sit in our offices and read all day.
We wish.
This is not a relaxing job. This is not a job that would be great when I retire one day. I had someone say that to me just a few days ago. I've always thought being a librarian would be great when I retire one day. It would be so relaxing.
Did you punch him?
I wanted to.
Well, it's also something you don't just get to stumble into. It's a legit
it's
career,
a real
profession. That,
you can't just be well, I'm old and
I
retired.
like books.
Because we're actually not sitting behind the desk just
stamping.
Yeah, and those people are extremely important, but that's not
all they do either.
No, it's not.
Yeah, nobody's sole job is stamping stuff. I bet some people wish that was their sole job.
And you get to read until someone else walks up.
No, I mean, honestly, I would say I've done less real reading since becoming a librarian than I did before.
You want to read on the job? Become a literature professor.
Ooh, gauntlet.
No, I mean you literally have to read stuff to prepare for class.
Yes. We don't sit and read all day. We do a lot of I think librarianship is moving in a very different direction than it historically has been. So we do a lot of teaching and talking. And
outreach, we're actually going to places where students are. We're giving presentations. We're going to events. We're sitting behind tables and answering questions,
Yeah.
out there where the students are.
Yeah, so if you hate all people, then probably librarianship isn't for you.
But it's not, I think there's this idea, I mean, you can be, I'm super introverted, believe it or not. And so you can do this job successfully as an introvert, but I think a lot of people think it's going to be a job where you can hide somewhere.
Yeah, that's not true.
And that's not true.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely just say that is not the case. I mean, those of us that are extroverts don't really worry about it, but, so what if you were going to say, if you're interested in becoming a librarian, or an academic librarian, or a school librarian, or a public librarian, where would you direct somebody to look at? Like, what is there a website? I would say take a look at the ALA website, the American Libraries Association.
Excellent place to start. Yeah.
Yeah. There'll be information about how to become a librarian, where you should look,
what the profession entails, what the responsibilities would be,
what the pay is like. Because let's be real. It's a public service job.
We're not in this job for the big bucks. Okay.
So, there's a whole bunch of information about that. And then if you're actually for real serious about pursuing librarianship, reach out to...
Come talk to a librarian.
Yeah. And
I've actually had students come talk to me about becoming a librarian.
Yeah, and kind of see what our daily life is like. Mm-hmm. And then also we might make suggestions. We also know... we know a lot of librarians around, in the area, not just academic librarians.
So depending on what kind of librarianship you want to go into, we could hook you up with someone who would know what know about what you're interested in.
Yeah, and so we both went to local-ish library programs. So I went to LSU, Stephanie went to Alabama. Mm-hmm. So we could maybe steer you direction to about some schools that have library schools, some universities that have library degree MLS or MLIS programs. That Southern Miss has one.
Right, yeah, they have one.
So if you're interested...
It's basically one per state, right?
I think that's kind of the rule, right?
I think it is, yeah.
So...
We could help you figure some of that out, too.
Yeah. So that's kind of a little bit about what we do and why our education...
helps us do our job well, yeah.
Yeah, so we kind of... I think people think oh, she just stumbled into that. No, we didn't just stumble in here. We do
just walk in.
Yeah, hey, I'm the new humanities librarian. I think I have this. We do have a background in those areas, and we are immersed in those disciplines.
And we receive specialized training that you don't get if you don't go to library school.
Yeah, so there's that. So if you ever have any questions library related, go find a librarian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's how to be a librarian.
Yep, that's
in a nutshell.
Pretty easy, right?
Yeah, it's like a normal master's program. So it's 2-year commitment. Yeah, 18 credit hours or whatever it is. Boring snooze. Anyway,
I enjoyed my program.
Oh, I love mine too. But just the whole idea of it's 18 credit hours.
Oh, that part is boring.
That part is boring. Yeah, I mean there were definitely classes that I enjoyed far more than the others.
Like the databases class. Why did I do that?
My situation was cataloging. I was I am not a small picture thinker.
I am not either. Yeah.
So I didn't care what went into the 200 yield.
But I thought reference, research methods.
Super fascinating. Yeah. I loved all that stuff.
I took a storytelling class, which I never use now.
Yeah.
Storytelling.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you learn all kinds of stuff. Organization information.
Next episode will be...
Stephanie will be reading to
back,
us.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, so that's it.
All right, so we've actually gone over, but...
We're talking about ourselves.
Yeah, how could we resist?
An amazing
And I know
manner.
you guys are not bored, so...
Right. Okay, so that's how to be a librarian, and there are lots of cool librarians out there.
Yeah, lots of cool librarians.
Yeah.
Librarians do really important work,
organizing information?
Politically. I was thinking, politically, socially,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we should launch into that, but they are. They're
Just take our word for it.
Take our word for it. Do some reading. They're, at the forefront of some very important movements.
Yeah, so if you... Yes! So, on Instagram, Stephanie's posted some pictures of today of real-life librarians that are doing those kind of things that we're talking about. So if you don't know who they are, look on our Instagram and, look them up, Google them, look at their Wikipedia page. They are doing some really cool, interesting things. So, we're at the forefront of movements and protections for you.
Yes.
The citizen. I feel like...
Uncle Sam.
I know. Okay.
All right, let's wrap this up.
So.
All right, so ready?
Yeah, do it.
All right, we're all ready. You're already following us on Instagram. please gently coerce your friends to follow us on Instagram. We're on Facebook as well, and we also have all of the previous episodes of Marx Library Live on YouTube, so you can find us there.
Yeah, and last week we talked about what not to do to a book, so go back and look at that when we destroyed some books.
We actually destroyed some books. It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
I mean, it's terrifying, horrible. Don't do it.
And next week we're going to revisit something that we've talked about before, but I think it's the right time in this semester to sprinkle that. Like,
what are we talking about?
We're talking about Boolean operators.
Wait, didn't we already just talk about?
Did we? No,
we just talked about the coffee cups.
Oh yeah, we did. I thought that's what we were doing. Oh, I'm so confused. Then we're not going to do that. We're talking about something just as important.
I mean, we could do it again.
Maybe I didn't learn anything. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
It didn't stick.
Obviously didn't stick. I think the coffee cups may have confused people.
Let's do it again. Hey, we'll come up with a better way to do it.
All right. So there's that. Maybe I just taught Boolean operators like 3 times in a row this week, and I'm like, no one knows it.
Nobody knows it. Nobody knows them.
Tired of drawing the pictures. All right.
One more Venn diagram, I tell you what.
It's going to put me over the top. All right, so that's not what we're going to talk about. We're talking about something different.
If you have any ideas, let us know. That's how we decided today's topic.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right, everyone. We will see you next week.
Have a good one.
Good luck with those library school applications.
We'll help you write your cover letter.